Well, hi there, Internet. My name's Court, and welcome to my ongoing Game of Thrones Season 7 review series. Just a word of warning, this series is spoiler-filled, so if you haven't seen the episode yet, tap out now and come back and watch when you're done. But hey, let's get on with it. Season 7, Episode 3, The Queen's Mercy. Let's do it. The episode begins with Jon and Sir Davos arriving at Dragonstone, where they surrender their weapons and their little canoe to take them back out to their ship. Eventually, they're brought before Daenerys, but before that happens, as they're walking up towards the gates, Drogon flies right over Jon's head, and Jon makes a face like, "What the?" They go and have a conversation with Daenerys, and she basically tells Jon that he has to swear fealty to her, and he refuses because that's not why he came. He came for Dragonglass and for allies in the fight against the White Walkers. Because Jon won't bend the knee to Daenerys, while they're not technically imprisoned on Dragonstone, they're pretty much marooned there for the time being. Theon, who's been adrift in the ocean for who knows how long, is pulled onto a ship of Greyjoys, one of the ships that escaped from the Euron attack. He tells them that he tried to save Yara, and the guy is like, if you had tried to save Yara, you'd be dead. And I think that was more of like, you're lying. You didn't try to save anybody. Shots fired. At King's Landing, Euron parades Yara, as well as Ellaria and Tyene Sand, through the city towards the Red Keep. And of course, all the townspeople are pelting them with rotten produce because what else are you gonna do? It is, of course, very much a callback to Cersei's Walk of Shame at the very end of Season 5. Presenting them to Cersei as his promised gift, she tells him that he will get what he wants, which is her hand in marriage, once the war is won. Euron has a few questions for Jaime about Cersei's, shall we say, preferences? And the look of rage on Jaime's face is quite delightful, I must say. In the dungeon below the Red Keep, Ellaria and Tyene are chained to the wall, and Cersei has still got a bit of a bee in her bonnet about Ellaria's murder of Myrcella. Cersei gives Tyene a big ol' smooch on the mouth, and I think we all know where this is going, but maybe not to the extent of the cruelty that actually happens. Cersei basically tells Ellaria that you're going to stay in this dungeon for the remainder of your days. If you try and refuse food, we will shove it down your throat. You're going to watch your daughter die, and you're going to watch her body rot. I'm starting to think Cersei is not a very nice person. Tyrion and Jon have a conversation on a cliff, and they're both kind of brooding. Tyrion makes a joke about, like, I came here to brood, but you're so much better at it than I am. Tyrion basically has to walk Jon through this whole situation and reminds him why he came, the Dragonglass. Tyrion then goes off to persuade Dany to let Jon mine the Dragonglass because frankly she didn't even know it was there in the first place, and they could use allies, particularly now that so much of the Greyjoy fleet has been destroyed by Euron. At Winterfell now Sansa is in charge and she's showing she really knows how to lead. She's coming up with plans for food stores for the winter, and she sees a bunch of blacksmiths making breastplates for armor, and she says, like, shouldn't you have leather, presumably of the boiled variety? Shouldn't you have leather on these things? Because it's going to be getting really, really cold. She knows what's up. Littlefinger, of course, is constantly whispering in her ear, but she gives him a slapdown with a really sick burn. Then a rather robotic Bran shows up at Winterfell, and their reunion, while he's just kind of like, hello, Sansa. Apparently that's my Bran impression. She breaks down, gives him a hug, and I'm not gonna lie, it was a truly touching scene. I had tears in my eyes. Honestly, Sophie Turner just keeps getting better with every season. Then they go out to have a talk in the Godswood, and Bran's trying to explain to her what he is now, as he's the three-eyed raven. She doesn't know what that means. He's trying to explain, and he says, like, I can see everything. I guess in an attempt to prove his power, he starts telling her details that he couldn't possibly know of her wedding night to Ramsay and subsequent rape, and dude, there are better ways to go about proving your power than that, man. That was a dick move, Bran. Dick move. At the Citadel, we find that Sam's torturous procedure on Ser Jorah has worked, and Ser Jorah is cured. He's scarred, but he's cured. And he's going to be allowed to go freely, as they need his cell for other sick people. There's a really touching moment when Sam is sort of bidding adieu to Ser Jorah, and they shake hands. And the look on Jorah's face, I'm blanking on the actor's name right now, but it is so good because you know that Ser Jorah has not had actual skin-on-skin contact with anybody since getting the disease, however long ago that was. Then Sam gets in trouble because he was told not to try and treat Ser Jorah, but it's not too much trouble. He just gets a bunch more Charlie work, having to copy old rotting books. It'll be fine. Then with Tyrion narrating, we see the Unsullied attack on Casterly Rock. Tyrion's actually the guy who designed the sewers at Casterly Rock because Tywin felt it was beneath himself. So Tyrion, luckily, knows a secret way in, and we see Grey Worm and a couple of his cohorts go in, and we saw this in the trailer. They open the front door for all the Unsullied all come in, and there's this battle, and they kill a bunch of Lannisters, and then they realize, That was like way easier than it should have been. They get up on the ramparts and they look back at the ocean and we see Euron's armada burning the Unsullied fleet. We find out that Jaime took most of the Lannister soldiers to Highgarden to kill their armies before they could join up with Daenerys. They also took all the food out of the larders, I believe is the word that was used, so the Unsullied are not going to be able to hold the place very long. They're going to be all weak and easy to destroy later on. Jaime gets to Highgarden, pretty easily takes the castle, and he goes and has a little talk with Lady Olenna, and she's like, did we fight well? And he's like respectful. He's like, as good as you guys possibly could have. And then he tells her all about Cersei's plans for her, hanging her off the wall and the Red Keep and flaying her and all these horrible things. But being the gentleman that he is, or can sometimes be, he pulls out a vial of poison and pours it in Olenna's wine. And she says, is it going to be a painful death? And he goes, no, I made sure that it wouldn't be. And she's like, good. And she chugs the wine and then basically tells him it was she who killed Joffrey, she who poisoned Joffrey, and implores him to tell Cersei. We cut to black. Unfortunately, we don't see Lady Olenna die because I think that would have been too much. I think the way the scene ended was just perfect with Jaime looking horrified and furious. I gotta say, so far this season, this is my favorite episode. I know we're only 3 in, but then again, there are only 4 more, so I'm not loving Daenerys being like all super hardcore with people now, but I think with the Greyjoy fleet mostly destroyed and the Unsullied probably mostly destroyed, I think she's gonna be eating a little bit of humble pie and realize, like, okay, forget about bending the knee, I just need allies. Jon, let's go do this thing. I'm also liking, we've seen that Tyrion is quite a strategist, even a military strategist, but I like that even he is, like, he's fallible and he's making mistakes and things are just coming apart. I do wish there had been some Arya in this episode, though. So those are my thoughts on episode 3, The Queen's Justice. What do you guys think? Do you think it's the best episode so far this season? Did you want to see more Arya? What did you think of the whole Jaime Olenna scene? Whatever your thoughts, hit the comments below and let's discuss. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button and give it a share if you really enjoyed it. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel for more Game of Thrones, movie reviews, video essays, entertainment news, trailer reactions, all that good stuff, you can do so by clicking the Courtshake logo at the bottom right of your screen. New Game of Thrones reviews every Monday until the end of the season. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Valar Morghulis. Take care.